Hey, welcome back to Three Ball Walk, session 2 of this week's Three Ball Walk. Bob, Eddie, and Julio.
Same
and
three. Yep.
We didn't go anywhere, still wearing the same clothes.
Still here.
Red, white, and black.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's black.
But
Red, blue, and black.
red,
That's
blue, and
blue.
black,
You're
that's
colorblind,
right.
dude. No wonder you couldn't hit.
Black and blue, the national colors of the country for the last few weeks.
Yeah, it definitely is.
We were talking about the All-Star game, and you're telling us why a game that is just supposed to be enjoyed by fans, All-Star game select, and why it needs to be worth something.
Well, here's why. Okay. Do you watch the NFL Pro Bowl?
No.
Of course you don't. Because why? Because they might as well be playing touch football, right?
Sure.
Linemen
And the
don't
season's
matter.
over.
Season's over. The best players aren't there because it's the week before the Super Bowl, so they're not there. It's just a free trip for them to go to Hawaii with their wives, girlfriends, and/or both.
And they don't play hard because they're afraid of getting hurt.
Right? No need, nothing there. Basketball, NBA. You watch the NBA?
It's big. It's big, and I'll watch it every now and then.
very entertaining.
200 to 195.
Right, because nobody plays defense.
Nobody plays defense.
Nobody even tries. All right, so you just kind of throw.
But it's an event.
It's an event, and it's a popular thing, right? So, baseball already suffers in popularity compared to the other two sports.
Yeah.
So if you take that game, and it has no meaning, it has no value, then I don't think a whole lot of people. I think less people watch than watch now. The second reason is
I'll go with you, but do you think that as a Cubs fan, okay, which none of us are, so I can say that.
Yes.
I'm sitting there watching that game, glued to the edge of my seat to see if the Cubs are going to wind up
this
getting
year?
home field.
Yes, because it means 4 times I can watch them in the World Series, as opposed to 3.
So you really think people are sitting there, and your Cubs players started the game,
right?
because they elected him on. So by the time the game is being decided in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, there's not a single Cub that's going to affect whether I'm going to be home field.
You know, I agree with that part of it. But I think fans are watching it because they're thinking, okay, this means 4 games I get to watch or 3 games if my team is a contender. If your team has a shot at it, if you're thinking my team's going to be in the postseason and you're a season ticket holder, you're hoping that your team finishes because it's one more game that you potentially might be able to see at home in all the rounds.
But do you think the casual baseball fan?
I don't think there are things as casual baseball
I don't
fans.
think so,
Not
especially it
anymore,
used to
that's
be.
the problem.
Exactly right. So I don't see if the people are going to watch are going to be the hardcore baseball fans. Like
But here's the other thing. You
over here.
said before the break
Right.
that you think the players who participate in 162 games ought to determine it.
I do. I think
All
they
right.
should be rewarded.
But the problem is that there's not fair scheduling. And so,
Well, yeah,
no.
okay. I
So,
understand what you're saying.
So you've got, let's say you have one year where the AL is definitely the stronger of the 2 leagues, and the NL sucks, and maybe the NL East is the only good division.
Okay.
So the 2 sides of the AL who get to play their interleague games against the Central and the West, and don't have to play the East, have a greater opportunity to have the best record and to host.
And here's the
True.
See, you want to know
So if
that
you
part.
didn't have
that part doesn't-
interleague, I would be with you.
I'm completely with
doesn't-
you there. They shouldn't have interleague play.
Because that's the part that really upsets me the most, and it's got nothing to do with home field advantage because they got to play the NL East.
Right.
Okay? Because the NL East, to be honest with you, got to play the NL East more than some division in the American League.
But
so
like-
you should have the better record. But here's the
Not
problem
necessarily.
is, with the way you're saying is as long as there's a wild card, that's what upsets me, is because the measuring standard to make the wild card is not the same for every team in baseball because that division in the American League got to play the NL weak division while the other players didn't. That affects me more, not who's getting home field in the World Series.
Yeah, but
who's the wild
what if the
card
2
team?
wild card teams are playing each other?
Look how often last year I want to say
Who gets home field advantage?
last year I want to say it was the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs. And look how often, and it's really interesting.
It's the same division. Has
Both
at least
wild
2.
cards have been from the same division.
Sure. And I think
And
that
it
has to
have
do with
with
a lot because
scheduling,
they're playing
sure.
the weaker
Yeah.
schedule. And so,
I appreciate that.
how do you've got 3 divisions, and so I'm not sure, maybe you can answer this question for me, how they do that in the NL. So let's say the NL. Does the NL play all 3 divisions equally? Do they play their own division 2 times?
No,
2
it's
series?
weighted. It's weighted where you play. I want to say like 18 games against your own division, and you're only playing 8 games against the other division. And
Both
then
divisions? So you
against
play
the other
8 and
two
8,
divisions.
16, plus another. That doesn't equal 162 games.
If you play
You mean
4 teams in your division, 18 games, that's about 70 something.
Okay.
And then you play the other 5 teams 8 games, that's 40, and the other 5 teams 8 games, that's 40. That's about 80 games.
Okay, so you only play 2 divisions in the other league, 2 divisions in your league, and 1 other division in the
And that's
inter
only
league?
one series. You'll split it. It'll be like, let's say the NL West is playing the AL East. The Dodgers will play the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. They'll play the Red Sox at home. They'll play Tampa Bay at Tampa. They'll play Baltimore at home. So, and then the thing that really gets me is then you have your local rivalry,
Right.
which is the Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays, for example. They will get to play a home and home,
Home and home
every
series.
year, regardless of whatever.
Right.
And that's kind of unfair, too, because this year Tampa Bay is terrible.
Right.
And as much as the Marlins are really good, well, guess what? The Marlins get to play 6 games against
A really
the
bad
Rays.
team.
And
But to say this, if that's the theory, then the Marlins versus the Braves has backfired on
sure,
them.
the
So,
Braves are the worst team, and the Braves are the
I think Bud Selig was
Like Jim
a
Lehman.
terrible baseball commissioner, self-appointed, and the things he tried to do. I understand the theory; it sounds good. It brings more revenue, but they need to get rid of interleague play completely. Just get rid of it, and National League plays National League, American League plays American League, and let's go to the World Series.
And while they're at, get rid of the DH too. But
Sure,
that's
but
another-
that's-
yeah, that's a whole
And
other
then-
show. It's
you know, but it's interesting. But here's the reason with the Braves. I remember one of the funny lines, and we got beat one time. This is when I was working with the Marlins. We got beat 11-0, 10-0, and everything like that. And Jim Leland's in his office, and the writers come in, and first thing is, what happened, Jim? What happened? He looks at him and goes, they give scholarships over in that other dugout too. One of the funniest lines I ever, they give scholarships, and the bottom line is, you know what? The Braves have professional ball players. They come prepared every day, and in baseball, if you win 2 out of 3 games, you do really well. Mm-hmm. And the difference between winning a series 2-3 and losing a series 2 out of 3 is 1 inning, 1 at bat.
Yeah, sometimes.
So,
And of course, the Braves have proven that most teams don't have a problem with that, except for the Marlins. It's kind of like when you play certain golf holes, and you come up there, and it doesn't matter how great you're playing, you get to that hole, and that hole kicks your butt. I mean, you're looking at it going, it's the same thing. It's the same club in my hand, and you hit it, and it goes in the wrong spot again. And you're like, every time I play this hole, it happens. So there's a mental thing, I think, with the Marlins playing the Braves for some reason, because everybody else doesn't have any problem taking series from the Braves.
they're worse than the Twins, and the
They're the
Twins
worst
fired their GM.
they did.
The
I didn't
Twins
hear that
fired their
today.
GM
Yeah.
yesterday.
I didn't hear that today. The Braves are horrible. I mean, they're and trading deadline's approaching next week. Well, 10 days.
And that's
from
what
now.
you've been looking forward to.
You've
It's
been
my
looking forward to it.
And will the Braves trade Turhan? Is my question. Will they trade?
Why not?
And,
I mean, if you're Turhan, don't you want to be traded?
I think he would want to be traded to a contender, a chance to win. But the Braves are going to have their new stadium, SunTrust facility. Ticket prices supposedly going to be 3 times as much than they are now. You got to
So
have
who's
like
gonna go
semblance of
watch
it.
the game?
Who's going to watch the game? Why would I go see a team that's going to lose 100 games again? I mean, it's ridiculous. And does Freeman get traded? I mean, there's so much trading news right now. I was telling Julio at lunch, the Dodgers talk about getting rid of Puig now. They want Longoria possibly. From
And I was
Tampa
watching
Bay.
in the Marlins game yesterday for the first time in I don't know when. The Marlins are buyers.
Buyers.
Who are the Marlins going to look to get?
They're trying to get one more starting pitcher that's a veteran to not put as much pressure on that top 3 pitchers they have, and
Yep.
to have a real solid 4-man rotation.
Well, Stanton certainly came through in the home run derby, and he sort of got hot again right
Yep.
before
He
improving.
did not get a hit yesterday, but I want to say he had a 9-game hit streak, and it hasn't been home runs it's been home runs, but
He had 2
he's
singles.
he's hitting the ball. He's
Well,
hitting
and
the
the
ball.
Red Sox got Pomerantz from San Diego. They've already made some moves. I just going to be interested. Do the Yankees get rid of Chapman? Do they get rid of Andrew Miller?
Everyone wants. Funny
Everybody
enough,
wants
everyone
Andrew
wants
Miller.
Miller.
He's a Buchholz kid.
He's a
He's a
course they
local
want
kid
him,
from
of course.
Gainesville for us. So, of course
Which
they
that
want
was my. I actually wanted to spend a little time talking Buchholz High School, believe it or not, and Andrew Miller, about 10 years ago, and
a guy named Doug Johnson came through there and played.
Doug
Could have played
Johnson,
baseball.
quarterback.
Could have played baseball.
For the
Should have
Falcons.
played baseball.
He could play
Best high school hitter I ever saw live. Doug Johnson.
Wow.
that good, huh?
That good. He could rake.
But just last week, the high school All-American team got named.
Mm-hmm.
and they will play at Petco Park on MLB Network August 14th, Sunday afternoon. I don't know, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, but it is the high school All-American game, and senior to be, and you said we can't have my son on here because he's a high school athlete, but I can mention one.
Sure, yeah.
Hunter Ruth, actually great kid, up at the Perfect Game National Championships last week, threw a few innings, hit 96 a couple times, fastball 93 to 95, named first team All-American last week, and he'll be pitching in that game out of the same school as Andrew Miller. I don't know what they're serving in those water fountains at Buchholz High School, but 95, 96, 97 miles an hour just comes every 10 years or so.
Well, if that field is like it used to be, you better pitch well or you don't pitch at all there, because that's got a very short porch down the left field line if you're a power hitter, which that's why Johnson was such a good hitter. He was a good power hitter, and he loved that short porch.
But just a little plug, great kid, and look forward to him. And people are actually talking about first-round selection now. South Carolina commit, left Gainesville. Gainesville kid did not sign with the Gators, or well, he hasn't signed yet, but
Yeah, he hasn't signed yet.
Committed to
Still signed to swing his vote.
He's committed to South Carolina, but I've got a feeling wherever he commits,
They're not going to see him?
they're not going to see him anyway.
If he's going to be a top draft pick.
If he's, I mean, everyone's talking first round now, at least first 2 rounds, and I wish him all the luck. But hard work, and he has put a lot of it in.
And you talk about first round draft picks. I mean, the Braves right now look like geniuses with the Dansby Swanson trade because Shelby Miller isn't even playing for the Diamondbacks right now. He's in AAA again.
Well,
And
is Swanson up yet? Have they pulled him up?
I truthfully, I'm a Braves fan. I haven't followed them hardly at all now. It's terrible. But I watch the Marlins because it's free.
I don't think they brought him up yet.
I don't think they brought him up yet. We've heard about it, but Shelby Miller isn't even. They're trade talking about Shelby Miller because he is like a 3.4 something ERA lifetime. But he's been with how many teams now? And he's only 26 years
Cardinals,
old.
Braves,
Diamondbacks. I mean, there's so the next 10 days is going to be, to me, is so much fun because of what. And this year it seems there's so many buyers this year, and maybe because of the wild card teams that you have in there. What are the Cubs going to do? Will the Cubs make a big move? I'm interested to see what happens with the Yankees. It's rare to see them be sellers, but I just think Beltran possibly will get traded.
The wholesale sell-off.
And the Dodgers, I'll tell you what's in, and I was just thinking, the Dodgers lose Kershaw, and they haven't lost any ground.
Hernandez comes back. Yep.
And what's the outlook on him?
Well, he pitched a 60-pitch simulation game, I guess, a couple days ago. They were talking about him possibly coming back Thursday, which if you watch this tomorrow, he's pitching tonight.
You won't watch it tomorrow.
He won't watch it tomorrow, so he already pitched, and but possibly pitching tomorrow. But if he's got a herniated
But
disc,
the Giants went on a little.
back.
The Giants went on a little 500 spell there, and so did the Dodgers. So
4.5 back still
over the last few weeks with the All-Star break.
But it doesn't matter what the Dodgers do. It's an even year, so the Giants are going to win it.
Win it all. That was your prediction.
That was my prediction early on. They're going to win
The
it.
Cubs, I still say the Cubs.
So they're going to win.
And the Mets, who was everyone's pick, are not only behind the Nationals.
Oh, good Lord, they're behind the Marlins.
But they beat the Cubs last night.
They did beat them.
Yep.
And pitched out of a jam in the ninth. I watched the ninth inning. I'm like, goodness gracious. How do you get the bases loaded, less than 2 outs, and not score a run to tie it up as a major league ballpark? As one coach I once knew said, 70% of the time, if you get a runner to third and less than 2 outs, he scores. The other 30%, you hit into a double play. And that's exactly what he did, hitting a double play in the game.
It was, and with the Marlins, and going back to the Ichiro thing, is Stanton's the highest paid player in baseball, and all this stuff and everything like that. And you can argue with Ichiro coming off the bench like he's doing, hitting 360, that Stanton is the 4th best outfielder on his team.
Yeah.
Ozuna was an all-star, and Yelich is just, last night, big double off a lefty. They brought in the lefty to
hit a home run, too.
Hit a home run early to make it 1-1, and then he got the double in the 10th inning to wind up scoring the winning run.
Will Ichiro, we got to go, how long until Ichiro gets 3,000? What do you think, a week, 10 days?
Depends on how much he plays.
He needs six. Exactly. He needs six. He came in
4 games. 4 games. 4 games that he plays.
4 games? Okay.
Oh, if he starts 4 games, one of the games he'll get 3 hits in.
Yeah, I would think
so. Yeah, I say
before we record again. That's a week.
That's 6. So, no, he'll only play Sunday because he plays the day games after the night games. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
What's today?
I don't know.
The 20
Today's 20th.
August 1st,
On our
each
Facebook
year.
page, write in what you think is going to be, and we will have a special gift for you if you get it right. But you got to write in today or tomorrow.
Right there.
Well, first after you see the 2 days after you see the
Right.
The
Right. We'll give you 2
presentation.
days, right, after the presentation.
which will be a couple of days because I've got to put it all
When you
together.
do it, or right in there, Facebook, comment what day he's going to do it.
Right.
Hey, thanks for watching us today. We had a special studio audience that you can't see who was very quiet.
Applaud.
Let's hear some applause. I'm not sure you can hear all that, but
Right.
thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Go out and play some baseball if you get a chance.
Play ball.
Watch baseball this week if you don't.